Hi, this is Karen. Welcome to Angular April, day 1. Today we are going to set up our workspace. We're going to get a workspace set up on Cloud9, and then we're going to create 4 new Angular projects. And I will show you how to set up kind of a template for those projects, your base page, where to put the CSS, where to put the HTML. It's going to be a single page today. Tomorrow we're going to learn how to make components and do routing so that it can be a multi-page site. Um, Anyway, let's get going here. Flip over to Cloud9 and create a new workspace. I'm going to call this one Project 1. Or actually, I'm going to call this one Angular April, because that way we only have to set up the workspace once and put all our projects in the same workspace. Okay, it's a public project. Cloud9 is free to use as long as your projects are public. If you want to pay a little bit per month and make all I don't know about all, but they do let you have private projects if you pay for it. So if you want the free service, public project, I'm going to take a blank project and create a workspace. This is going to take a couple minutes while it sets everything up. And basically this just saves us the time to go and try to install or upgrade Node on your computer. And some people have Windows and some people have Macs and some people have Linux, and it gets a little confusing. You can definitely set up Node on your own computer if you want. In fact, I have in the bottom of the page here for day 1, there are some links here where it's not showing up right now. There they are. Okay, so if you would like to go to Node.js over here, and you can go ahead and download for Windows. I have a Windows machine. If you have a Mac, I assume it comes up with Mac. If you have Linux, I assume it comes up with Linux. So you can go ahead and install Node on your own machine if you would prefer, instead of using Cloud9. But this is a convenient way to keep everybody kind of on the same page. So if you're not already somewhat familiar with the command line and using Node, you might want to go ahead and follow along on Cloud9 just so that you have the same look and feel that is in the video. And what we're going to do here is, first of all, make sure that Node is updated, because Cloud9 right now, I'm not sure what version of Node they're on. Looks like they're on 4.61. Okay, and we need to have 6.91. So in nvm install 6.9.1. And this will go ahead and install the latest version. Well, this is not the latest version. If you took a good look at the Node page, they're actually beyond this. And then we're going to tell Cloud9 to use this one, nvm alias default 6.9.1. All right, and that will just set up the environment so that it can run the latest version of Angular, and we're going to install that. Now this has changed since Angular 2. If you've done Angular 2 projects with the CLI, the command used to be Angular-CLI. This is changed to an @ sign, so it's npm install -g @Angular CLI. And then we wait. This is one of the most annoying parts, and that's the reason that I'm only going to do one project on here instead of doing a separate workspace for each of the 4 projects where we have to install Angular. This global install, the -g, will install it on this particular workspace. So any project I put on this workspace can use all of what it's doing now, and I don't have to reinstall it several times. In the meantime, while we're waiting, I just want to go through and show you I have a website set up. It's karenfreeman-smith.github.io Angular April website, and there is a introductory page there with the links to all the days. This one, I should probably go back and actually show you. Okay, so here's the opening website, and I think I have this in the comments for the video, or I will have this in the comments for the video. And it just talks about what we're going to do, has a little intro video, a thing where you can sign up for the mailing list that I have not actually got set up and working yet, and a list of where we're planning to go, each day's lesson plan. And April 1st is done. None of the other days are done yet. So as I'm going to try to stay at least a day ahead of everybody. And anyway, on the day we're going to have a little place where it has the goals. This is the welcome video right now, but as soon as this video is finished, I'm going to be replacing the video with what we're making now. I have some basic notes, so you don't have to sit there and scribble notes if you don't want to. You can actually come here and get some of those notes that are all typed out for you legibly, not as I would type with my own handwriting. If it helps you to remember to take notes, then please feel free to go ahead and take notes. Sometimes I remember even though I don't look at the notes again, but when I do try to look at the notes again, I can't always read my own handwriting. So I've gone ahead and typed up some of the material we're covering today. And I have some resources, so we'll take a look at the resources. And I should probably talk slower because this is going to sit here for a long time. As you can see, it doesn't even look like it's doing anything yet. And that's actually pretty normal. I've seen it take up to 30 minutes sometimes to do these installations. I think this one last time I tried it took about 20 minutes. So I'm going to show you these resources and then I'm going to pause the video if it's still not running. Anyway, I have the official Angular website, and you can take a look here. They basically have sales stuff. They have some documents. If you want to go to an Angular convention, getting started. No, we're scrolling. Okay, I'll have Angular 4 is so much better than Angular 2 was, even though we're not changing what we call it. And take a look over here. We have some documentation. You've got a quick start. You've got a little CLI quick start. That's what we're doing. Guide and API reference. So you've got some really detailed information here. There's a tutorial that you can follow for Angular. There's some advanced topics here. The cookbook is interesting. It'll actually show you some things for specific questions or problems that you may run into. Anyway, it's a good idea to get familiar with that. And of course, Cloud9. If you're not set up on Cloud9, I think this one just jumps right into my workspace. So I'm not even sure how to get to their main page from here. Possibly. Yeah, so so for 20 bucks a month, you can have unlimited private workspaces. So if you're not so crazy about the idea of somebody seeing your work, you can always do that. These 3 hot workspaces, they don't have to boot up, so they're always on if you have work that you want to have available online for people to see, even when you're not there to demo it. Nice to support these services because they give so much away for free. So give them a chance if you feel up to it. And anyway, the free plan is what you want to sign up for. It should get you to some place somewhat like this, where you can click on the new workspace. That's where we were when we set up the project. That's where we started out at. So, and you see they have a lot of other languages. If you haven't used Cloud9, it's a pretty good service. And we have Node.js, which we already took a look at, just in case you want to set this up at home on your own computer. Material design for Angular is something that we're going to be looking at toward the end of the video today. And it just basically has the components and shows you how to get it set up. Somewhere in here it tells us what kind of things cool things that we can make if Angular material is in our project. So it has on the side here all these. You'll probably want to take a look at this at some point to style your website. I'm going to be using GitHub to keep a copy of the code. And if you're not familiar with the GitHub, this link will take you to GitHub Help, where you can find out what GitHub is about and how to get around on GitHub. And I've got a quick CSS reference. W3 schools. Some people I've run into recently have not been saying nice things about W3 schools, but personally, I really love this list because it's fairly complete and on one page, which I have not found on another website yet. If you have a better link for a CSS reference or also an HTML reference, please feel free to share that under the Day One stuff on our Facebook page. I'm not necessarily promoting these people as being the one and only or best, but they are a reference that can help you remember what you may have forgotten about HTML or learn if you are still kind of getting started. So, and our Facebook page. Open that up in a new tab. I just got this started. You would think that I was downloading this stuff to my own computer, so as the internet's getting here. Close some of these guys up. And there, now that I've closed everything, we have a Facebook page. Almost there. All right, so basically the rules: be nice, keep your posts in the comments. If there's posts to the main feed here, I'll have to delete them so we can kind of keep things organized and easy to find. We have a thread here for day one, so anything that pertains to this lesson, please post it under day one. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you have additional resources or links that you would like to add, share a link to your Cloud9. Let us see what you're doing. Day one might not be all that exciting, but when you get to a point that you want to share your work, please feel free to share links to your Cloud9 or to your GitHub or to any place else that you have it hosted. Post a screenshot. Love to hear what you're doing and see what people are working on. So yeah, please join us at the Facebook group, and hopefully there will always be somebody around who can maybe help you with any questions you have. And here we are. We have some actual, look, it worked. Yay, I talked long enough for it actually to install. All right, so here we are on Cloud9 with our Angular installed. And what we want to do next is to create a new Angular project. So you type ng new, and then you have to name your project. This is always one of my my hard things, trying to come up with new names. I'm going to go with the Project 1. And this will take a few minutes too, but not as long as installing Angular took. But it will take a little bit. We can see here some of the configuration files have come in. We've got some of the stuff set up for the source. Actually, maybe I'm wrong. Seems like we should have node modules in here. Okay, well, it will tell us that it's complete when it's done, so I know it's not quite there yet. But while we're waiting for it, we're going to want to take a look at package JSON. And in here on the ng serve, start, want to add -- host, a space 0.0.0.0 space -- this is port space 8080. And there's also a live reload port, but that's been giving me an error, so I'm going to leave that off for now and see if it will still work. Just save that. And there is a project README. Now this README has some general information about Angular CLI. and how to run it, the ng serve. We've got generate component, building, testing, also some links so that you can find out more information there. In our source, yeah, there's our node modules. I knew there were node modules. There were last time. Anyway, you'll see the staging here, and so we're waiting. We're waiting for all these node modules to be installed, and you'll see when it does, it'll just expand at a rapid pace. But until then, let's also take a look at the index. And this is kind of the main page for your website. This is where you're going to put what you want to go on every single page. I'm going to change the project in the title here. I'm going to change this to my Angular portfolio. This does not have to be a portfolio site. This can be any kind of personal site you want. If you have a hobby or something that you'd like to make a site about, you know, dogs or running or needlework or whatever it is that you enjoy doing. I know most of you probably already have a portfolio built. You may not want to do another portfolio. I'm going to do this as a portfolio that's just going to hold the other 3 projects that we did, that we're doing in this project. So there's that. There's also this where it says loading. I'm wondering if I should wait to do this. Well, I'm impatient. I don't know about you, but I'm impatient. So I'm going to go ahead and I like to say please wait too. So this app root is going to be replaced by whatever we put in our application. But you're probably going to see this for a few seconds when you first load up the web page. So whatever kind of message you want to put in here, you could put a little HTML in there if you'd rather have it be in an H tag or something. Let's try maybe an H2. Whoops. Don't always like when they autocomplete. Right, there we go. Okay, so that looks good for that one. And we're still waiting for node modules. So let's go ahead and go into, again, this is in your source folder. In the main part of your source folder, there's an index. That is the main index page for your application. There's a styles CSS. These are the global styles. This is going to apply to everything in your app. So if you want every page to be a certain color, then this is where you are going to put that information. See, we had an H2, so I'm going to put an H2 here, and I'm going to say, hey, let's put this in the middle of the page. Text align. Okay, so save that. Okay. Now most of the application is going to be in this folder here, the app folder. And right now we just have that main root component. So these files make up a component. Next, tomorrow we're going to learn more about how to make components, how to make our own components, which then we can nest into this. So this main component may contain other components, and that may be your header or your sidebar or a list of, if you're making a site about, what did I say, needlepoint, this will have a list of your needlepoint projects, or maybe where you went to run if you're doing a running site. Mine, being a portfolio, will undoubtedly have a kind of a portfolio sort of thumbnail screenshots that you may click on, and then it's going to have another component where it shows you the details of the project. I haven't really planned this out yet, so I'm kind of making it up as I go. But that's basically how Angular works, and if you've done anything with React, it does very much the same thing, where you have kind of a component, and then inside that component you put several different components, and it keeps all your code modularized so that you can work with a small amount of code instead of, as your project grows, just have these, you know, huge long hundreds of lines of code. You can keep everything fairly small and easy to read and easy to work with. we're going to take a look in this app component TS. And here you have a title. It says App Works. And that would normally be what comes up when we first start the project. But since we're running off ahead of the installer, I'm going to put the title as My Angular Portfolio. And we'll Control S to save that. And then we have the, oh, there they are. There's our node modules. You saw how that popped in on the side. It's still doing some more stuff. It's still got a little staging thing here going on, but it's almost done. And we don't really need to see all of those anymore. So we're going to close that up. Go into the app component HTML. And you'll see here in the handlebars part here where it has the title. This is where that app works, or the title that you just put in is going to go. And they put it in an H1 tag. We have a app component CSS. We can put CSS to describe the elements that are in our component. Right now we have the H1. So we could have an H1 in here. And let's see, maybe we can make this a color. I think we'll go with is there such a thing as dark red? No, we'll just do that ugly bright red instead. So I know that exists. Okay. Let's save that. So basically, this is where you're going to put anything that's not global. Anything that applies just to this component is going to go into this CSS. Anything that you want to apply to everything in your website is going to go to the CS file that's out here in the main directory. So you can kind of keep the global styles and then the component-based styles separate. So in this case, maybe we want all the H1s to be black, except for this page. This page we want to make it red. And in here you can add additional items. One of those items tomorrow we'll be adding components in here. We'll also be adding some routing information in here. But for now, we'll just put a paragraph. This is going to be for Angular. All right, save that. And now we have command prompt again. So we've done all of the actual building of this website right here while waiting for it to install. And just to test to make sure that everything works, we want to put npm start. Oops. What does it not like? Ah, you know what? Before you do that, you should change into the project directory. So cd project 1. And then we can do an npm start. And this looks a little bit better. Okay, so it's going to serve out on the local host port 8080 here. And it's going to take a little while. There we go, we're 10%. This is not quite as painful as installing Angular or starting your project, but all the waiting is probably one of the most frustrating parts of using Angular or React or Ember or any of these big frameworks, is they do take a lot of time. But that's because they're doing a lot of stuff for you in the background. You don't have to write by hand to make all these modules fit together. You just build the modules and then your framework will compile them together for you. So I have to remind myself this frequently as I wait for things to build. And there we are. Okay, compiled successfully. Now we can hit this run, which pops up another little window down here. We have a starting, we have a URL. I click in the window and then I click on that. It says open. I open. It'll pop up another tab which says loading. Please wait. which is what we put in it and what we told it to say while we're waiting. And I found out that I didn't spell my thing right, which is actually probably pretty good because now we can edit it a little bit. So instead of seeing the app works and editing it, you see what I put in for my first day's stuff. And we're going to go back here, fix that typo, which would be in the main index, I believe. There's an N, change that N to an M. There we go, M. And I'll control save. And then in the app component, I can't believe I made the same typo twice. Wait, the app component TS. And there it is again. Same typo in two different places, two different files. And that did not reload by itself. Okay, the live reload is what will make that spin around and do this every time you save. So I'm going to go back and add that in. It's going to be per project. Okay, I'm going to leave it out of this project and we'll see it work in the next project. So that's project number 1. That is our personal website. And now we are going to go on to project number 2. I'm going to go back here into the command line. And we'll hit Control C to stop the server. And cd ... back into the, this will take you back into your main workspace where we're going to do ng new project 2. Unless of course you have a good name for your project, in which case you can name it whatever you want. And we watch while it creates another project. Project 1 up, project 2 is coming on. Close all these windows. Okay, so in project 2, we have the package JSON. And here in the ng, on the start line, after the ng serve, --host, 0.0.0.0, --port, 8080, space, and then --live-reload -server, which was giving me an error for some reason, 8081. So we'll compare how the one with the error works compared to the one where I left it out. Control S to save. And how are we doing? We're staging. Okay, so we're going to keep going and take a look in our source. Go ahead and open up this app folder too. So here we are in project 2 looking at the same exact files we were looking at before. And this time we want to make a small business type site. Still like the please wait. And for project 2, I'm going to do a small business site for my sister who is a dog trainer. And she calls her business Clicker Dog. So we've got the title. And we'll go up here into the component TS. For the title here, instead of AppWorks, I'm going to put Clicker Dog here as well. And then in the HTML, I will put a nice word or two about my sister, best dog trainer. Oops. Trainer, ER, in Northern California. Lots of exclamation marks because that's what makes it true. I'm gonna do this as a, maybe as an H2. And of course it's gonna autocomplete for me. I'll put that in there. Got my title coming in. think that for this one at least, I want them to be centered. So I'll go ahead and put an H1, an H2, text align center. This is the part that I want you to feel free to go ahead and do whatever you want in terms of putting a little styling, or if you've got some text that you want to, if you know something that you want to put on these websites, go ahead and put it out there. Even if it's just a list of ideas about what you might want to include in the website, go ahead and put it out there. I think a lot of times coming up with that content can be the hardest part of designing a website, which is what makes building a portfolio so much harder sometimes than working for somebody else. Of course, when you change your mind, it's not as annoying as when somebody else changes their mind. So it balances out maybe overall. Anyway, we're going to save all of this stuff and see that we're still installing. Cool. Okay, and here we are. I'm so glad we're not going to have to be doing this waiting on the remaining days. We'll be able to actually write some more, do some more coding instead of sitting around watching the computer spin. But that's one of the reasons that day one has so little actual stuff to do, because it takes so long to get things set up on the computer. Even when you've got a web space already sort of set up and waiting for you, it takes a long time to set this stuff up. And we still don't have a command prompt, but we're getting closer. I can go ahead and close these up. I'm not planning to do any more editing here. I may do some editing in between videos if I can think of anything to put on here that wouldn't already go in one of those components, or maybe if I think of something that is going to go on the component, because then I can copy and paste it or cut and paste it, and that'll work good too. That's why if you have ideas, go ahead and put it out there, and you can always move it around as you need to as we go along. So in this small site, I'm going to go ahead and use Bootstrap. Something that I've used on a lot of sites. I feel pretty familiar with. Something to be said for working with what you're comfortable with. So I'm going to throw this one in, and I'm going to put it in the index, the main index in the main folder. Right here under the favicon. Oops. That did not happen to be where okay. To get the cursor to move and put it right there under the favicon. So pretty much like any other website that you'd use Bootstrap on. You just throw it in there on that main page. You don't have to put this on every page. It'll automatically be on every page because it's here. Because this is like the skeleton, the place where everything goes. So, and it looks like we may have something going. Look, we have stuff happening down here. It's building. We're gonna save it. Run it. Again, after you click on run, just click in here, and then you'll get that hand cursor. When you hover over here, click on it, click on open. This may take a little while because it's probably still compiling. Yes, they're still on the 92% chunk asset optimization, so it's going to spin for a little while until it's finished doing its thing. And now it's compiled correctly. Get our loading. And there we go. My sister's new website. She's going to love it. Doesn't even have a picture of a dog yet. Tomorrow, I may have a picture of a dog for that in the background or something. But that's something that doesn't need to be done on the video. This is, like I said, it's not about CSS and HTML. And well, I think that there's a lot of room this week to do some of that fun stuff and work inside the Angular framework to do the CSS and HTML, which is, I think, a large part of what a lot of entry-level jobs would probably have you doing, is more of the front-end look and feel, but knowing where to find the files and where to put the HTML, where to put the CSS. So that's important. That's what we're going to be focused on for the rest of the week. Just structuring the site, kind of the storyboarding, and then a lot with the how to load the content in and where to put it and how to work with the components, rearrange things on the page and stuff. So that is our second project. And I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I think 40 minutes is plenty of time to listen to me talk or watch the computer spin around in circles. Go ahead and kind of as homework for tomorrow, what you want to do is make a project 3 and a project 4. We're going to do an online store and we're going to do a community website. So pick something that you would enjoy shopping for online. You know, if you want to do books, if you want to do sports equipment, if you want to do, you know, plants or pets or I don't know what, and anything that you can think of that you could buy online. It's not a real store. Anything that would be inconceivable to buy online. It doesn't matter. We're just going to put it out there. I remember back in around 1999 or 2000, somebody decided to have some kind of an online store to sell meringues. That's the stuff they put on top of the pie. And I guess they had a problem with shipping because they would melt when they got shipped. But whatever you want for your store, kind of come up with some ideas about what to put in your store, come up with some ideas about what you want to put on your small business site and your personal site. Community, I'm going to be building out kind of a junior tech jobs thing because right now I'm feeling the frustration of getting your foot in the door someplace. You know, we spend a lot of time and effort to get skills, and sometimes it seems like it's kind of hard to find somebody that will pay us to use them once we have them. And so I'm having that on my mind as much as I do. So that's where I'm going to focus my community site. And I'm going to, for my store, I think I'm going to do just some cute stuff and try to integrate the Etsy API and get some stuff from Etsy on my online store. So those are my ideas, not really great ideas. I'm sure that most of you will come up with something better. And you can post your ideas or talk about your ideas on the Facebook group. So go do that, and I'll see you tomorrow on day 2. Okay, so I did forget, so it's going to wrap things up on that last video, that we were going to do some material design as well. So I have got project 3 and project 4 installed. I actually have material design working on project 3. So we're going to walk through how to get it set up on project 4. But first, you just want to make sure project 4 is running. So go ahead and do that npm start and let it do its first compile. It should give us the whole AppWorks thing. Or not. No, I didn't CD into what did I thought I just did that. Yeah, okay, so now we're going to try to run it. So it's kind of hard. You think that, you know, you're going to do this without making any mistakes because you practiced a couple times before you turn the video camera on, but it just doesn't happen, does it? That's what editing software is for. I'm going to be learning editing software. These videos should be getting better as we go along because these mistakes can be edited out. Unless, of course, I get comments from people saying that they like seeing somebody else make mistakes. I mean, sometimes it's reassuring to know you're not the only one. So, we'll get going here. I don't think I have a tab for this one yet. here in the preview. Okay. Hate to do this because this means we have to compile the thing again, but npm start. Oh, I know now. Okay, remember those lines that we put on the project, on the package JSON? I did not put them in here. Right, so if you follow all the steps when you're setting it up, back to port 8080. 8081. And you save that file. Then I don't know, let's just try one more time with the whole. All right, so coming back here, I installed project 3 with material design on it. And I just installed project 4 and we've got it running. This is a blank project. I did not actually put anything on here while it was installing. I waited for it to install this time, so we've got a completely blank project. And to use Control-C to stop the server. And I'm actually going to go to the notes and copy and paste some of this stuff. So first of all, on the command line, we want to do this npm install, save Angular material and space, then hammer.js. The hammer.js, I guess, does gestures. It's not really maybe something that's going to be important here, but it was part of the tutorial I learned from, and it's also in the instructions on that material site. So it'll just be there in case we need it. And we'll let that install. And we'll go grab the next one, which is going to do for the development with the hammer.js. And we'll paste that into the command line, install that. Okay, and then we want to put this types hammers into our tsconfig.js. So I'm going to copy that, come back over here. I'm going to find the tsconfig JSON. It's right down toward the end. And after these compiler options, I'm going to hit enter to paste, put a comma at the end of that. And since everything else has this nice little open bracket indentation thing going on, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing there, just to make it look like the rest of them, not because I think it's important. Save that. Take a look at our next step. We need to add this import statement into the CSS file, and this brings a pre-built theme. There are 4 pre-built themes. We're going to use the pink and blue gray. There's also indigo pink, purple green, or deep purple amber. So you just change this color name to the one that you want if you want to use one of those other. And I probably do want to use one of the others. So we're going to go into the CSS. This would be the main CSS and the source, which is right here. Okay, and we're going to paste the import statement in. And I don't know, this is going to be a community website. I don't know if pink and blue gray, that seemed okay for an online store, but I'm going to maybe, oh, I don't know. I'm thinking job hunting. I'm going to do amber because amber, like gold, gold is kind of like money. Money is the reason I want to find a job. It all kind of makes sense to me. So there we go. Deep purple and amber. Let's save that. Go back over here. Oh, there was a step that I missed actually, and it will be updated soon, but it's not yet. So let's go back into day one and look at, we want to import the materials module in the app module. Copy that. She can't see that window, I'm sorry. I took that right out of the HTML for the day one that has not been uploaded yet. So we're going to go into the app module TS here. And you see here where we have all these import statements at the top. We're going to add another one, and it's going to say import material module from @Angular material. Put a little semicolon at the end. Then we're going to import quotes. We're going to spell import right too. How about that? Import in quotes hammer.js. End of quote. End of quote. Put a semicolon. Okay. And then we have this imports down here. So what we want to do is add a comma to the HTTP module. Open up a space. Put material module. This should be spelled the same as the module is up here. So you could copy this. You could copy this one and paste it down here if you type the way I type. That will save you some trouble if you copy and paste as often as possible. Okay, so let me take another look outside here. What have we got? And we import, and then we want to do the icons, which is on here already. So we're going to take this little icon fonts thing, copy that, and we want to put that in the styles. No, we want to put that in the HTML. So where'd the HTML go? Here it is. I'm going to put this right here in the end of the head file, or the head part of the file, and we're going to save that. And then, oh, it's not running right now. Okay, because I haven't told it to run. All right, so we're in our project, npm start. Watch it build. And this probably actually isn't going to show us anything at all as far as a difference on the page, because I haven't really used any of the material design stuff yet, but we're going to add something here in a minute too. I was uploading the first part of this video, but it's done, so it really shouldn't be going this slow anymore. And finally, the app works. I'm not entirely sure. This might be a different font, but it looks a lot like the old font. So there it is. One thing we can do, though, if you want to go to the app component HTML, this is project 3. So I'm going to steal some of this from project 3, copy that, get rid of project 3, go to the app component here, and I'm going to paste it right over the top of this. If you have a primary color, this should be the deep purple. And for this, I'm going to go, say, junior tech jobs. Or something along those lines. Maybe junior tech job hunters. Anyway, that's going to be my little community site. We'll save that. Trying to save that. Okay, changes are saved. It's reloading. And there we have our material design job, but we didn't change we didn't change the headline yet. Take it back there in the module TS. No, in the component TS. And where it says app works. There, junior tech job seekers. Sounds good. Save that. Might as well fix up the index HTML while I'm there. My please wait in. Save that one. Okay, well, I obviously need a better slogan now, but that's basically it for project 4, and that kind of brings us to the end of the day the right way, including the design stuff that I promised you in the beginning. And once I edit all the mistakes out of this video, I'll see if I can glue it to the first video. And I will see you tomorrow for day 2, when we will explore components and routing so that we can make these pages into sites. See you then.